Hey yo friends, welcome to our first ever political party podcast.
Hey yo!
Where we talk about life, talk about relationships, talk about our faith especially. And we are just a group of friends that wants to talk to one another because we want to have meaningful conversations again.
Indeed.
And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about our life experiences pre-COVID and post-COVID, and also introducing the faces and the voices of the people behind this podcast.
Hi
So here we are. Can you guys all talk about your own toxic traits, or if you were a toxic friend in your own friend circles before?
For me, I don't think I was that toxic of a friend. Maybe that's
that's
cap. Maybe
same.
I just don't have the
Same.
self-awareness.
Cap, homie.
That's usually the most toxic person in the room. Yeah.
The fact that you're saying you were toxic is toxic in itself.
All right.
Anyway, I love you.
Right, he has an ego.
XOXO.
He has an ego. That's a
Okay,
toxic
so yeah,
trait.
maybe
Superiority
I
complex.
guess that was what it was. The pride. That's
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He likes to be.
All right.
He likes to be an alpha.
I see that. Ego,
The
right?
ego, okay.
I think one thing though is that like I always try to be the nice, like a nice guy with all of my friends, but I think that before I was in the church, if you like crossed me or if you did something to like offend me, you're cut, and there was like no grace. Like I would not give any grace to anybody, and
So you're very unforgiving.
I was very unforgiving, and so I guess you could say that's a toxic
Gotcha.
trait
Oh,
because
that's toxic.
I didn't have forgiveness for anyone. So
For sure.
Wow.
yeah,
Thanks
I mean,
for admitting
real.
that.
Hey man, somebody has to be honest out here.
You're right.
You're saying you're toxic for not saying
You're
you're
absolutely
toxic.
right. That's not a toxic trait at all. Yeah, like
I feel
you're
like
not
we're in
as toxic
therapy.
as you think. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right,
That's
Al,
so
what
good.
about you? I know you got some toxic
You're
traits.
calling him out.
Admitted it. Like I've had my toxicity. Okay?
So what is it? You haven't put words to it.
I feel.
I'm joking.
Shut up. I pull out
It's a whole
straw.
book. Go.
I feel like I have to admit I was the worst at communication. I have to admit it.
Do you think that
I
toxic trait
I
is still?
think.
Just kidding.
Do
Just
you
kidding.
remember when I
There?
said
Stop
toxic traits
it.
can still arise?
Guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have our moments.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
it's Al's turn. Okay, so
sure.
Relax.
Whatever.
before God, like I've gotten way better. But I have to admit, before I would never really communicate what was really
So what would you not communicate? Like
literally
what?
everything. No, I feel like
were you
Sometimes
passive
Al likes
aggressive?
to over-communicate.
now
hey
I
guys, I'm ready.
over-communicate.
You can come pick me up now.
I feel like you were very passive
Then we
aggressive.
have to
like
wait
very
for
I think you
Hey, man.
communicate
I
too
don't-
early.
To be honest, I don't think I was. Can you? Am I gonna talk or am I gonna?
I'm coming out. Comes out
Oh
15
my
minutes
gosh.
later. All right,
Okay.
keep going.
So, this is just us, I guess.
Yes,
this is
yes.
how our conversations go. I don't think I was necessarily passive aggressive. I think I just sugarcoated a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the times it's always about, you trying to be like the good friend, but your definition of a good friend can be so
Fake.
yes, and it could be it could be twisted in a way
Yeah.
where you're actually just not wanting to be uncomfortable most of the time, and I think
So you
that's what
escape
I
a
was.
lot.
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah.
do you avoid like confrontation?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you look for something that benefits you or feels comfortable. to you.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
at the time, I wanted to say like, oh, it's just I didn't want to like hurt a person's feelings and
Yeah.
whatever, the usual thing. But to be honest, when I look back, it's like, no, truthfully, I just didn't want to be uncomfortable. And I just,
So if someone had like something under teeth, you'd never tell them.
no. I'm just kidding. No, I would. Not like it
You'd
wasn't-
sugarcoat it.
Okay,
stuff.
to be honest, it wasn't stupid things like that. It was
girl,
things it was things like that actually needed to be communicated, like how
Yeah.
I was feeling. Like if I were to like get hurt,
Yeah.
I wouldn't communicate it. And
Gotcha.
I'm realizing now more than ever how important communication is.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot actually, like with my friend groups in the past, where if somebody did something to the other person, like you would say something, like as guys, you'd be like, yo, like why'd you do that, bro? But then explaining the feelings behind it was never there. And that's what I noticed a lot, is that it was hard for my friend groups, or at least the friends that I was with, to be able to express themselves when they did feel some type of way towards another person. And so
Yeah.
there was always like tension in the room, and you wouldn't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
You know?
Like an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
It's the most
Yes.
uncomfortable thing. I hate
Super.
that. It's like one of my I hate it. I
One of your
avoid
pet
that.
peeves.
One of my pet peeves.
Gotcha.
Big pet peeves.
And I think I also had a really bad Saviour Complex.
Ooh,
I had
Explain
really
that,
bad.
explain that, explain
That's
that.
good.
Give us a
Yeah.
story. You're not
Can you give us a
Jesus.
story?
Stories I have plenty. Look That's at a me just good sparking one.
things.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good one.
You guys are so annoying.
Was it mostly like guys? That,
Whoa.
no, because that's how it usually is with
You know
girls,
what?
right?
Not really, actually. It was usually with people I really cared about. I think I just had this idea that I could like really fix people, and
Gotcha.
you know, at the time, again, it was about being a good person, but you don't realize how much that actually feeds your pride. Like that
Yeah.
feeds your ego whenever you were helping people out. But in reality, you were just actually doing it for yourself, making yourself feel good about yourself. And it wasn't always the case, but when I look back at my life, that was more common than I thought.
Yeah, and I feel like people who struggle with like Saviour Complex really struggle with the insecurity first.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
I can't
Because-
believe you're just calling me
That's
out.
how
But
they
yeah,
feel
no,
the
it's not insecurity.
That's
No
how they
facts.
build a
facts.
void. That's
Exactly. Because you
Yeah, it
wanna
was
you wanna fill a void.
Exactly.
To
It's
make
true.
yourself feel worthy.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
At the end of
Yes,
the
and
day.
I'll get it more into it later, but yeah, I was definitely trying to fill a lot of things.
Yeah,
So
I got that.
that was one of the things by really feeding my Saviour Complex. That was a huge
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot. I mean, all of us here are like leaders in the church, right? And all of us have led
Yes.
other
Oh,
people.
man.
And so that was actually one of my main problems as well too, is
Yeah.
having that like Saviour Complex of wanting to like save everyone,
Yeah.
help everyone.
Yeah.
And when I
Save
couldn't
people.
achieve that, that's when I was so torn, because it was impact on my character that I
Yeah.
wasn't good
Yeah.
enough to be able to save someone,
Yeah.
right?
Thanks
sure.
again.
You know, that's funny. I think that's my toxic trait, where
Wow.
it's the opposite.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Speak on
Okay.
that.
Where you know you kind of grow this calloused heart.
Wow.
And-
Yeah.
You
I
know,
get
when
that.
people leave your life, right? Because that's how it was. You could say with my parents.
Right.
You kind of just go like you kind of grow this mentality
Yeah.
where if the person wants to walk out, you're not gonna chase after them, even though it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just gonna look strong,
Yeah.
stay strong, and it's so it's the opposite for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And it's almost too apathetic in a way,
Yeah.
and especially in ministry,
Yeah.
right? Where if I see that the person isn't responding the way that I think they should
Yeah.
to the way I maybe lead them or coach or shepherd them,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna try anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even like at some point you have to leave them to be by themselves.
100%.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and I think like people will get to that point because
Yeah.
people still need to learn in
Yes.
their rock bottom
Yes.
experiences.
Yes, but for
Yeah.
me it was just
On the other extreme.
like
Yeah,
first
yeah,
try. You don't
was like, right
I don't
away.
see what I
Okay.
want to see.
Yeah,
Figure
yeah.
it out on your own, right? Because that's the way I grew up. That's
Yeah.
the way I kind of internalized my mindset.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Like I see the opposite way where I don't
Wow.
feel like I need to save people.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like for me at least,
Yeah.
you know, it should be independent, right?
Yeah.
Where no one should save me.
Yeah.
So therefore, I feel like, you know, if it was like you,
Yeah.
I wouldn't need to go out of my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
See,
it's the opposite actually.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see,
gotcha.
I relate to you on that in a way where the way that I like lead other people is a response to the way that I wasn't led. And so I wanted to lead people and give people the things that I didn't
You never
receive,
had.
that I never had, right?
Yeah.
So I think
I
that
feel
we
you.
have like two different reactions
I feel
to
you.
Yeah.
the same
Bruh.
situation. Yeah. We're getting deep out here.
That's
No, I
crazy.
We're
Wow.
getting
It's
deep
real
out here.
because
Yeah.
like what you've experienced in the past, the things that you lack the most,
Yeah.
are the things that you want to give people the most.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that people have asked me so many times, like, dude, why do you compliment people so much? And I'm like, bro, like,
You already know.
it's because it's something that I lack and it's something
Yeah.
that I want to give people
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like we have this mannerism in ourselves where what we're missing in our childhood days,
Yep.
in our growing up days,
Yep.
is what we will give out
Yes.
and pour out to
Wow.
people as we
Yeah.
grow up.
100%.
100%.